Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
From Cafeteria Film Studios in Little Havana, Phresh presents Jai Alai, where we talk to various movers and hustlers who are popping off and succeeding in the 305 and at the same time influencing the culture. I'm your boy D Fig. Holla at your boy when you see me in the street. Ew. What's good, everybody? I hope you are chilling and enjoying yourself whatever time of day you're listening to this. In this episode, we sat down with the cast and crew of Lemon City Live. They are a podcast that started off speaking on sports, but now has generally touched on sports and everything else. Just like basically what would happen when you get a bunch of guys to sit down and talk sports, everything else comes into the mix. These cats are dope, are definitely funny as fuck and insightful. Shout out to Gustavo, to Nard, Edwin, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Let's get into it, all right? Listo. All right, so we're in another live episode, not a live, we're in another episode of the Jai Alai podcast. We have a special guest in the studio, the crew of Lemon City Sports, Lemon City Podcast.
Lemon City Live.
Lemon City Live.
Yeah, bro.
Well, we talk about sports.
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
And a whole bunch of other BS.
All right, that's what's up, man. Thank you guys for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate you guys coming on, talking to me about what's going on in your world, how it's popping, how you keeping it alive. You guys is popping in. I mean, you did come into on my radar because through a friend, but primarily through the sports podcast that you guys initially started. Tell me how you guys decided to like jump on and do sports. I know Miami's a big sports town, so there's a lot of that. But like, what made you say I want to start shooting shit with this particular industry? You know.
Hey, Gus, you want me to do it? Or you got it.
All right, so
He'll give you the short version. Mine will be a little longer, but
yeah,
go ahead.
it was originally three of us.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Gus, producer Fun Gus.
Producer Fungus. Okay.
Producer Fun Gus.
Producer.
Yeah.
Oh,
You have to throw that
Yeah,
douche in
douche,
there.
yeah.
Look how I'm dressed. I'm so fly. Anyways,
Right. I like the way you dress.
I came straight from work, bro.
Everybody here is like super like
Yeah.
chill.
Dude, I got CVS receipts in my pockets and stuff.
Over here, chill the fuck
There you
out.
go.
This guy looking like he's gonna sell me some insurance.
I have one of those. I have one of those jobs you have to go to college for, and I regret it. I'm just kidding.
This is no fun.
So yeah, man. It originally started. It was three of us before we met Tenard, and we're from the same group of friends. And every time we get together, the three of us would talk sports, while the rest of our friends would talk about nerd shit.
Okay.
And that's pretty much how it is. Eventually, Edwin and our other friend, they wanted to do a blog. And they asked me if I wanted to contribute. I was like, yeah, I'll contribute. But let me, I just wanted to see how serious they were about it. And it got popping a little bit, but eventually it fizzled out.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I was trying to tell them that I know how to do sound recording. We could do a podcast. Eventually, Edwin took a digital media course at FIU, and he learned about podcasting. So that's when he came up. He approached me, and we made that happen. So we met up one day at Edwin's place.
Yeah, that's where our studio is.
Yeah.
G605.
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 But yeah, no, it was not to interrupt, but yeah, our first episode, because actually we were supposed to be
It was supposed to be a planning meeting.
we were supposed to have
weren't
a meeting.
supposed to record our first episode that day.
Okay.
No, we were going to talk. Gus was like, yo, I got some ideas. I was like, yeah, I got some ideas. We're like, oh, let's sit down, let's get together. And then all of a sudden, Gus is like, hey, don't mind me. I'm just opening up my laptop and I'm hitting record and go ahead, start talking.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, well, go ahead. And so if you actually go to our SoundCloud page, scroll all the way to the bottom because we've got, how many episodes are we at now?
168?
168, yeah. We're
Somewhere around
168 episodes now. So we've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah.
Once a week, sometimes a couple, sometimes we miss a week, but it happens. But if you go all the way down, you listen to the first ever episode, it's there, and it's the audio is pretty crappy. We didn't have any microphones, nothing. But thanks to this guy, that's what initially, you need that little kick in the ass.
Yeah.
Gets it going.
Yeah, man. So, like he said, I opened up my laptop. I was just going to show them, talking so you guys can see how the program works and whatever. But we ended up just recording the first episode right there, speaking into the microphone that comes with the laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just huddled around that shit like teenagers looking at porn or some shit.
Nice. Sports porn.
This is awesome.
Sports porn.
That's how it started, man. That's our origin story.
That's
And,
dope, man. And you
from
guys
there-
have come a long way.
Yeah, man. I mean, from there, like half a year later, a little more than maybe 8 months later, we applied for credentials just to see what happens with Fort Lauderdale Strikers and Miami FC. They approved us.
Okay.
and that was pretty cool. So from there, we just kept it going. We applied for Canes, FIU. They approved us for some reason. We still don't know why they approved us, but we're glad they did.
That's some love right there, man. Hometown love.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that just gave us that experience that we needed in order to now be where we're at. And but the cool thing about it is that while covering Canes, when we did that first spring football game, Edwin was taking shots and he sees Frank Gore standing next to Frank Gore.
Miami legend. Let's get it right, bro.
That's right. Is Miami legend Tenard Davis.
That's right.
They trying to introduce me to the fun. Yeah. So I was with my cousin Frank. We were going to watch our cousin Gilbert Frierson.
Oh, okay.
Who was a cornerback / striker, and I got a DM from my wife's brother named Wachi.
Okay.
Not Ernie, but Jose.
All right.
So he was like, "Hey, look at this picture," and then it directed me towards Edwin, and Edwin DM me, said, "Hey, we want to talk. Let's talk about putting you on the podcast." So we exchanged phone numbers, and I text him, and then a week later, I showed up on a podcast. Now in that process, I already got hired by NFL Network.
Okay.
And I'm also doing broadcasting boot camps to try to work my way into being a sports analyst.
Okay.
So I felt like it was a match made in heaven. So from there, we connected. They wanted me to be the third wheel because their friend who they were initially with decided to no longer to be with the company, if you want to say.
Yeah.
And I felt like it's perfect. I bring a different twist.
Yeah.
I bring the sports. I bring the realistic
credibility.
Yeah, I bring credibility, but at the same time, I bring a realistic point of view. They bring a point of view of fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I try to always bring them back to reality. Like, look, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
And they always appreciate my input.
Emphasis on the try.
Yeah.
But that's how it was, and it really just kind of worked out beautifully. Like, it just by coincidence, I was taking pictures. I saw Frank Gore, and then I look, and it's look like a crazy long backstory of how there were these connecting ties, and the next thing you know, we're sitting in my studio, and we're talking, and let's not forget the man here is a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a former
I try to be
Hurricane.
modest. I try to be modest.
He's been in movies. He's done. This guy's resume is impressive, and he's one of the hardest working people we've met, and one of the coolest. And all of a sudden, he's just there. He's like, "Hey, man, let's go." And
that's what's up.
Man, he's just fit in with us like so perfectly. And it's been almost
it's a year.
No, it's been well over a year. It was the beginning of last year. It's about a year and a half now.
The one thing I'm a little bit upset about that I can't be in the field.
What do you mean by that?
So interviewing,
okay.
going to the games, because I have access to Miami.
Yeah.
But Jai Alai kind of takes over everything because I'm contracted with them.
Okay.
So I feel bad when Gus say that, hey, let's go do this, and I'm over there training, or I have a meeting, or I have a performance. So it's like I'm here, but I want to get more involved, but I can't. So I feel like every time you need me here somewhere like this, or they want my input, I'm always on point. I feel like I got to bring that always to the table because there's no excuse. They know I'm the hardest. Like he said it, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Like I was flying from freaking here to LA to Atlanta for an entire 6 months, every single day, living out of a book bag.
That's crazy, dude.
So, they know how bad I want it, and I want us to win when it comes to being one of the best listening podcasts when it comes to sports.
That's great, man. Yeah. So you guys love the sports topics, right?
No doubt. But we also love other things too. Like we talk about a whole bunch of BS. I'll let Edwin bring that up.
I think my dream show has always been the non-sports show.
Okay.
So real talk. I grew up and I am your stupid sports fanatic. I'm the stat.
The stats guy.
I know the stats. Yes. I'm like a database of useless information. Yeah. I remember playing the old. You remember on PlayStation, you play college football.
Yeah.
And you had you made the rosters. Tenard was on those rosters. Because
he didn't get paid for it though.
Yeah, I did. I got the email about should I get my money, but I haven't heard back.
Exploiting him, But since 2003.
Yeah.
But now it comes full circle. 2019, we're here working together. But I've been this big sports fan. But what I've noticed is as I've gotten older, I'm a little more detached from the fanaticism.
Yes.
So I like the conversation. I see things differently. I see things from different perspectives, and I kind of just like the debate part of it, even if I don't really sometimes Gus will say, my favorite color is blue, and I'll be like, nah, it's red, bro. And I'll just just to piss him off. You know what I mean? So
to play the devil's advocate.
Exactly.
Bro, he's Al Pacino.
So it works good for us. And that's the part that I've enjoyed the most out of all of this, especially that. But yeah, we talk about, man, we've done episodes on Star Wars, movies,
everything.
Everything.
You guys ran the gambit.
But it's fun, man. We've had a really cool collection of guests, and again, thanks to Tenard's connections, we've had Antro Roll join us.
Oh, okay.
We've had MJ Acosta from NFL Network. We've had, most recently, we had Billy Corbin on the show. He was talking about, because, again, going back to TD being the big movie star, he was in, go check it out, MagicCityHustle.com.
I've been wanting to check that out, man.
Yes, very, very dope.
I just checked out Screwball last week.
Now, I don't want to give it that much credit, but that thing was fire.
It was.
What, Screwball?
Yeah, he was filming at the same time he was filming Magic City Hustle.
Okay.
He was going from one set to the other.
Damn. Talk about hustle.
He was definitely hustling, but that Screwball is a great documentary.
Hells yeah.
But we also won a award for best film in the Film Fest.
Okay.
Magic City Hustle. So we carried our own weight. Billy Corbin did a fantastic job. Showcasing what outside of highlight the players like life. And what brought us to the casino. So
that's oftentimes overlooked. Like, I mean, because you touched on the subject that like you're a huge, like you grew up being a huge sports fanatic and things along that nature. But like oftentimes people forget that like athletes are just regular human beings like everybody else, like they're going through regular struggles just like everybody else. So like they do superhuman things on the field, but off the field, it still comes back to being like, I'm being a human, I'm normal. Like I want to be happy. I want to like have other things that everybody else has.
You're touching a subject that we talked about 2 weeks ago when Andrew Luck retired.
Yes.
That's right.
And RG3 said it best.
Yeah.
He said, family, friends, fans, even some of our teammates, that you play high school football with, not even like the guys, look at us as superheroes.
Yeah.
And they fail to forget that we are human. So when you add the injury bug that, that's involved and your own personal expectations of yourself and you don't meet it, it brings you back to like, why am I doing this?
Yes.
And then you walk away from it. And that's the position Andrew Luck was in. His expectations of himself is really high. He can't meet up to it because he's always hurt. He was holding back the Indianapolis Colts. So what would be the best option? He retired.
I mean, that and he was already like, he secured the bag,
Yeah. But sometimes like at a certain point in your career as an athlete, the money, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
What about your legacy?
Yes, exactly. That's
what
the
I'm
thing.
saying? Like,
I don't care about my legacy at this point, man.
What you want people to remember about you? You don't want to be known as the guy who was always hurt, a la Greg Oden. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
He
like,
secured the bag
He
too.
secured the bag too, but when you think about him, he was injury prone.
Yeah.
So, back to what you were saying, it's a human element when it comes to being an athlete. And when you put on a professional level, it's even more pressure because of the fact that you have family, you have friends, and you have your own expectations of yourself that you want to live up to.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. Like, but it's great that you get to bring that perspective to the podcast. Being that, like, you like rounded off, like Edwin was saying. What's your favorite sports team here? Since all of you guys are like local as fuck, Dade County, Miami as fuck. Who do you guys really enjoy covering? Like, what is it? Something that you're like, fuck, I want to go do this one,
And I'll answer that, but I wanted to real quickly piggyback on his last thing real fast because a few years ago we were just, at least Gus and I, we were just watching football on Sundays. We're fans. We're watching it. We had no idea of that whole other side of it and the mental aspect. And then now, just yesterday, Gus and I were at Hard Rock. We're covering the Dolphins. I'm on the field. Yesterday, we're in the locker room talking to these guys after they get rocked 59. You see that human side, and we've seen it for the last few years, doing it with all the local sports teams. So it definitely, you see it, and that's what's changed like my whole aspect on how I like to look at it or how I like take it in. But as far as local teams, man, I grew up a sad Dolphins fan.
Okay.
That's
you grew up. You are sad Dolphins
we're
fans.
Talking, man. So it's 37 years of misery.
God,
you know what I mean? So
oh my God, that looked horrible.
I do hate all those 1972 guys though. Like the ones that are like, oh bro, we're undefeated. But shut the fuck up, dude. I'm not bragging about 1972 anymore, man.
Let them live though.
Ah, man.
That's the only thing that we got.
Their life though, man.
Dan Marino on the 72 record. That's all we can speak for.
And
Nothing else.
Marino's like right below 1972.
Yeah.
Give me something else. But I think Dolphins. And for me, I also, bro, I can't. Marlins. I'm a sad Marlins guy too.
Marlins?
Yeah, bro. I was there, and I like our
Come on, bro.
local soccer, Miami FC. I'm a big Miami FC guy.
I know Marlins they've been dumpster fire for most of their existence, but we got 2 World Series, bro.
Yeah.
2 World Series. And
I feel like those 2 World Series were like some straight up mafia shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like they everything just like came together at the right time. Just like dog, the Red Sox, no series,
right?
right?
For almost 86 years.
And like we came into the league like
bro, the Cubs in like 105
years.
years or
That's
something.
straight up, bro. And you're from Miami. Come on, bro. It's like somebody was paying back somebody's, fucking old coke fees or some shit.
Before Screwball happened.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
That's kind of how it was. Biogenesis.
Yes. That shit's crazy.
I didn't even
man.
mention the Heat. Bro, I can't pick one.
Well, we haven't covered the Heat yet.
Yeah, but still, that's even more. Like I've been,
The Heat was my first favorite
For real?
squad. Yeah, when I was little.
Yeah.
For some reason, I love. You know why? Because I loved Michael Jordan. So just basketball. I loved basketball. That was like my first. Soccer was really my first love,
Yeah.
but we didn't have a soccer team down here.
Yeah.
So basketball was like my first local.
Your first love. Basketball was your first love. What was your first sports love?
Baseball.
Baseball?
Yeah, baseball. Sad baseball.
Damn,
guy.
I never really got into the baseball thing, man.
It's a hard sell. You gotta have somebody. I always tell people, like, if you've never watched baseball, you never got into it, like, you're not gonna get into it.
Yeah, I
at
have
this
some
point.
friends that are die-hard baseball
Yeah.
fans. Like, they'll watch a game like at 12 o'clock and shit
yeah.
in the midday. I'm like, what the fuck are you
Oh,
doing,
yeah.
dog?
Afternoon baseball, like a 1-1, 1-0 pitchers duel. Yeah, I'm all about that.
For
But
real?
Yeah.
No, I can't
Sad,
watch
dude.
5 minutes of that
Sad,
shit.
bro. But no, yeah, definitely like that.
How about you, T? What's your favorite one sport?
My favorite one, obviously, I'm gonna be biased. Is
Yeah, football.
Then
thought you
second
were
best would be
soccer.
track. I follow track a lot.
Yeah.
And now, if I knew about not to sell the ticket, I'm just being dead ass.
Yeah.
Highlight, bro. Once you know, I'm being from here. We saw the commercials when we was a kid and shit.
Yeah.
Do the jingle. Come on, you know it, dude.
Miami, you know that shit, man. But real talk though, like if I was a kid, if I can go back and do it all over again,
Yeah.
and if Highlight was paying a couple, like, $150 a year,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be 100,000, you got to be 500,000. I would have went all in, bro.
Yeah.
That sport, that shit is addicting, man.
It requires a lot, right?
Yes and no, because I want to say that because you got fat motherfuckers out there that can.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. It's all about finding the ball.
Who's the fat dude on the squad? Like,
We
what
had-
is he doing?
We had a guy named Nate the Great.
Oh, for
Last
real?
year, Nate Brooks, who played. But I'm talking about when you go to Miami Casino, when
Yeah.
you go to Dania Casino,
Yeah.
it's like heavy set dudes out there, even Calder. They got dudes out there like they just came from damn Wendy's and just threw on a uniform and started throwing.
Why? Because they could sling the shit out of the ball.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a cross of tennis and racquetball. But if you can predict where the ball is going, you just can move like 4 to 5 steps and go.
Oh, that's it. So you don't really have to be that agile.
Yeah, but it's a point when you go against a guy who's agile, then he puts it all together, and that's when he wins everything.
Oh, it's
So-
definitely like tennis then. Because I
Yes.
played tennis. It's like that
Yes,
sometimes.
yes.
If they serve the ball to you, it's fucking perfect, you
Yeah.
know? But if he says, go get that shit on the other side of the court or like run up to the net, run back.
Yeah. So to answer your question is football, track, and I really, really, really do love highlight, bro.
And
I'm
how did you
36,
stumble into highlight?
So you
This
want
is
a long
good.
end?
This is the
Like, I
good.
mean,
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you.
Tell me the truth.
There's a whole movie about
Give me the synopsis. Before.
All right, chilling home. I was actually on set in Tennessee, finishing a show for the Discovery ID channel, playing a police officer. Got an email from University of Miami saying that
Yeah.
they're looking for highlight players. Bullshit.
Yeah.
A week later, get the same email. Bullshit. Then I get a direct email from the at the time the CFO
Yeah.
saying, hey, let's talk.
Yeah.
Called them. Hey, I googled you.
That was the first thing he said.
That wasn't what they told Nate the Great, though.
I want you to come try out. I'm like, it's worth your while. Came to try out. You're hired. What does hire mean? 45,000.
All right.
And here's a contract of what you can make.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So I bought
right.
into it. And I got some other
Yeah.
incentives in my contract. I don't want to say. At the same time, best decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Man. No bullshit. Like I really was for the poop on it. But now that I'm in,
Yeah.
I would have been so mad that I would have walked over, just passed by this opportunity. Dog, because right now it's coming back.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm literally like a seed that's helping it grow.
That's what's up.
So
He definitely is. But I also like remembering because when we got linked up, he had just started the highlight thing.
Okay.
So he had just started training, hadn't played a game, nothing, right? So like a couple months after we meet and everything, so it's his highlight debut. It's the first day of it's on 4th of July of last year.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right. So Gus and I were like, hey, let's go support our boy. Let's go
Yeah.
check it out. We're chilling. We're like, hey, and we get there and man, it's that sleazy casino vibe a little bit, you know. You're like in there, and I look, they have like a VIP section. I'm like, oh, okay, and I look, yo, no, dead ass. Who do we see in the VIP? Lawrence Taylor.
Get outta here.
Hall of Fame linebacker from the Giants, sitting there. He's got like sandals on, some jeans and shirt, and he's drinking like they're giving him drinks in these little plastic cups, and he's there and he's throwing out money, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yo, hard times if you're just betting on like brand new amateur highlight players to go out there, and he's throwing down betting. I'm like, wow, watching, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna be legit, you know. And hey, props to TD and all those guys. That first day was a little rough.
Yeah,
you know, watching them, even though they have been practicing, but to actually see the bullets flying live and everything like that. There was some miscues that you go see them now.
Yeah, they're firing on all cylinders.
it's all
a whole nother thing, man. It's really, really impressive to watch, and that's because my man over there.
If you really want to, like, the thing about that sport too, man. If you on your last leg on your dollar, and you go over there and bet $2, literally, and you hit it like a cash 3, you can walk out with like at least $2,000, $3,000.
Damn. That's what's up, dog. That's why it was such a big deal in the early 70s and the 80s and all of that. Yeah. Because that's when like Miami was in that like in that environment, like everybody wanted to be gambling, doing crazy.
It was
shit.
making $1 million a week back then.
Damn, that's crazy, son.
A week.
That's what's up. Crazy. And now that's just coming back. I mean, gambling is coming back hard in South Florida, dog.
Yeah.
Especially since they legalized it.
Yeah, they're trying to legalize it down here, bro. I mean, that's the last thing that's missing for Miami to be like one of those major cities. You know, like if they legalized it in New Jersey and in New York for sports betting.
Yeah.
Like they should just open up the books out here.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you made a point about being. We're a major tourist attraction.
Yes.
But just to put it over the edge.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like we make like instead of making 20 billion, we start making 50 billion.
Yes.
That's go do it. Because instead of going to Vegas, you know what I'm saying? You can just come here and just chill out on the beach and go to the casino right down the street.
Yeah.
And just do your sports betting right there.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's the one thing we got over Vegas is the beaches, dog.
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, that's the only thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas lobbyists are blocking Miami from getting legalized sports betting. You know what I'm saying?
No, they are. They are. You made a great point because the CEO now, or he was the CEO, not the CEO, but the CFO, who left to go to Miami Casino, he was going to Vegas a lot. Oh. And he was trying to collab with Vegas to do something when it come to highlights, showcase the sport down there. They didn't want to buy into it. Yeah. So apparently, like, Vegas wants to keep a lock on everything.
Yeah, of course.
You know
They've had a lock forever.
They got because they don't get taxed as much as
exactly.
The only person that really don't give a fuck is the Miccosukee and the Hard Rock because they get all their money is clean.
Man, true story. Out of as much of a sports fan as I am and everything, I'm a horrible gambler. I don't know. I'm like awful. I don't. And also, not just am I a horrible gambler. Like when I go to like the casino and I hit like little slot machines or anything. But I also don't understand like spreads and stuff. I mean, I get it, but
how could you be so good with stats and all that shit and then suck on the sport?
That's the whole thing, man. I don't know. I've always been like, I don't like losing money, man.
You know, he can read, but can't comprehend.
That's what it is. It's not that you're not a good gambler. You just don't like losing money.
I don't like losing it, man. It's tough, man.
I'm with you there, though. I hate losing money, dog. Like that's the shit that pisses me off.
It's tacaño, bro.
But the thing about it, we forget. It's a small world, man. Because me and you went to the same high school.
Yes, that's crazy. We're talking about that.
We just talk about that before we started the show.
It goes all full circle.
Yeah, it goes all full circle.
I came through a weird connection. You guys know each other.
They messaged me. It's like, yo, this guy said he went to high school with you. I'm like, not really. I don't remember his name. But you're saying you was 300 pounds.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You was a little
big different.
Out there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I probably wouldn't definitely recognize you. But that's how Miami vibe is, yo. Like the circle is so small, and you go know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yes, that's true. I talk about that on this podcast all the time. That like, there's this thing called the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation. Oh, yeah. I say that Miami is like a 2 degrees of separation. Like, it's a major city, but it's a small enough city where if you want to reach out and touch somebody, you could just do it like easily. You just get in contact. You're like 1 or 2 DMs away from everybody.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's true. That's true, man.
That's 100. It's just like we're just so small here, but we're so big too. Like everybody wants to put their foot in our pool. You know what I mean?
No, this guy's always one DM away, bro. This is all right. This guy's been able to get stuff done for us, like through
You're
the
the DM
DMs.
king?
I'm a DM king, bro. It goes down. That's where it goes down.
He's
homie.
very persistent.
We
bro.
had Carlos Arroyo on our podcast
that's what's up,
a
dog.
few weeks
Yeah, man.
ago, man, and we were talking Puerto Rican basketball and the Olympics and everything, and it was all because this guy. I don't
That's
know
what's
how he
up,
does
bro.
it, man.
How'd you DM Arroyo, dog? You went in hard for like a month campaign?
Bro, I must have sent him, I don't know how many messages, but he finally responded one day.
Yeah.
Because we have that FIU connection. We cover FIU basketball,
Yeah.
so that's really how I got to him.
You
That's
find a
what's
little
up.
angle, and then
Yeah, man.
Gus slams you with DMs over and over.
Yeah,
But
persistence.
That's right, bro.
See,
That's
You know
right.
that persistence can easily be confused as being annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like the way Gus, if you watch how he words his, DMs, it's
Yeah.
like always like to the point. Like, look, man, dude, this is what we're trying to do. And it's not like a fan. It's like more like, hey, let's try to collab so
Yes.
we can, you're still relevant. We're trying
Yes.
to be more relevant. Let's work together.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I keep it professional. I don't sign it producer fungus. I put my actual name. I put my real name on there.
Yeah, man. But it's not just like getting some of our guests and stuff, but it's also just finding people, man. Like one really cool thing that we're really proud of is that we've been able to include other people in what
Yeah.
we do, friends, complete strangers that we just met at other events that we've been able to network with. And that goes to like your whole Miami, 2 degrees of separation, where like one person will meet and like, hey, I know this guy who does this. Like, all right, put us in contact. And next thing you know, we got photographers covering events for us in Tampa, in Orlando.
Yeah.
We got a guy flying in this week, coming in from Atlanta, who wants to collab
That's
on
what's
some
up.
stuff. And it was the same thing. It was a friend who introduced me and stuff like that. So that's one really, really cool thing. And like aside from the podcast, our website, everything. You and I were talking about this before. We got our PhDs in YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which
YouTube
is
University.
YouTube University here, because we didn't know anything. Like
Yes.
Gus and I were like, all right, well, I was like, I want to start a website. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, GoDaddy. I think I've heard of that. So it's like we didn't know shit. So we little by little baby steps and everything, to the point where we've worn a bunch of different hats. I'm doing photography yesterday for the Dolphins. I was at the Brazil-Colombia game on Friday, I'm hanging out there, and Neymar crashed into the boards right next to me. And I'm like,
that's where you was at?
I was there. I'm snapping
That
pictures.
shit was
of it.
crazy,
Bro,
son. Yo, did you see that shit?
that was bad, man.
Yo, I was like, I'm Colombian.
Yeah.
And even I was like, oh shit, that's just bad. I didn't want to say nothing. I was like, I hope they don't give him a card because he did it in the square.
Yeah, nothing. That should have been a penalty.
Yeah, that
Red
should have
card,
been.
get out
Oh
of the
my
game,
god,
dude,
that
but
should
he
have
got away
been.
with it. But man, props to him.
Those two teams have become the rivalry in South America.
Yes.
But
Because
props-
they're they're prominent teams.
But props to Miami. They came out. Like, we get a bad rep for being a shitty sports town.
Yeah.
They sold out Hard Rock. Over 65,000 people were there to watch, two teams play a friendly game, not even a qualifier or anything like that. Like, they're just going out there. I mean, a lot of it was to drink and booze up.
You got something on your chest you want to say about that.
I
man.
mean, the thing about Miami gets a really bad rep for being a shitty sports town. I don't think that it's a shitty sports town. I just think that in comparison to other cities, like, you better bring it here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of shit that's competing
We got
with
so
your
much shit
eyes.
going on.
There's
We
a
got
lot of
so much
shit going on,
here.
man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like we were talking about, I'm a diehard Canes fan, right? But I make it a point to like be a Canes fan because like I know that I'm dedicating like what is it, like 8 or 7 Saturdays out of my year that I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna watch the games, and everything that's happening on those days I'm not gonna be able to partake in unless it's something huge. It's like my mom's birthday, some shit like that. Yeah, I'll give up the Canes for a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's worth it.
Think about it.
You only got one mom.
Exactly.
Depends what birthday. I mean,
If it's FSU, I'm like, damn, mom.
Can you meet me at the stadium?
is it an even number, odd number? What are we at?
But it's like, it's definitely like you really have to bring it here, bro, because you have so many things competing for your attention here. And it's just like any other city. Like, you're the number one in Ann Arbor, Michigan. No wonder, homie, you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, dog.
Like nothing
What
going
is
on
going on there? You got the biggest stadium in the fucking world for one squad that's you play there on Saturday. That's it. Outside of that, you ain't shit going on.
The thing with Miami is that once you have built up that fan base and you're consistently putting out a good product, fans will put up with a couple of years of rebuilding or whatever. Like the Heat, they've had some shitty years, but they still
But they have produced.
But they've produced, exactly.
Yes, they have.
But even on their shitty years, if you look at like NBA attendance, they're not at the bottom.
Yeah.
Even during those years.
No, because those games are fun as fuck too.
Yeah, bro.
And also, their location is important too. Like when you think about the Hard Rock is almost is in Broward.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
You know
County Line Road.
Yes, exactly. So when they tore down the OB was the perfect location for Canes football. And they thought they was going to get that Marlins vibe there, and that really tanked, as we know. So it's all about location too. And like Atlanta, I lived there.
Yeah.
Their soccer, the first year of their soccer team, the United, they sold out.
Damn.
Like they built it and they came.
But they sold out a football stadium.
And they sold out a football stadium.
That's crazy.
70,000 plus stadium for MLS soccer is crazy.
Yeah, it is
And
crazy.
Arthur Blank he knows how to get people to show up to his
his
sports.
events,
to
yeah.
his events. So hopefully we figure it out. But like we said a second ago, Miami just got so much going. You got the beach.
Yeah, man.
And we're not just competing with other. Besides competing against other sports, you're competing against other things to do.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
other
saying?
events.
Yeah,
like
dude, get
shit
that.
is popping. You come here like in December in Art Basel.
Our Basel,
yeah,
what is it? Music Week,
Yeah,
Fashion
and then
Week,
you got Music
everything,
Week
man.
and
bro.
shit.
Heck
It's
yeah,
like,
man.
what am I gonna go do? Look at football or look at these fine ass motherfuckers?
It's not enough hours in the day, bro.
Right.
It's not enough hours in the day no more, man.
Yeah,
For real, man. I mean, you're competing with the
I know
patillero
Caleb's-
and shit.
I know Caleb Smith is pitching tonight. I want to go check that Marlins game, but that's
But
tough, bro.
Cayocho's calling me.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, Dr. K or Dr. Feelgood?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dr. Kid.
That's the truth about Dade County, man. I mean, always I get that shit. Whenever I travel, it's like, oh, you guys are the worst sports fans. I just hate that
Yeah,
shit. It's
for
like,
real, man.
Nah, we're not the worst sports fans. We just have a lot of things going on in Miami,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
Oh, we got some real. I mean, have you seen the video that's going around today about what was happening at the tailgate yesterday?
Oh,
at the,
yes.
at the
Oh, I
Dolphins
missed that.
game?
The strip club. They set up a strip club outside in the
Word?
tailgate. Bro.
I haven't said it to you guys,
Damn.
but they had a stripper pole. They had strippers dancing.
Yes.
They had a guy on the mic like, "Yo, what are you guys doing there with your phones? Start paying the woman." You
Yeah.
know, and
Like they was throwing up ones.
Dude, yes, dude.
Legit.
And then there's a guy grilling like right back
Yeah.
there.
That's the funniest part. He's just like grilling and looking at
They
ass.
didn't
at the
get
same
naked
time.
though. They was like they showed top. They had the tops and
I don't
bottom
know, man.
on.
But I just saw what
They
was
was
on
in
the video.
bikinis. They was in
Yeah.
bikinis.
I'm saying they was giving a showcase though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They was making it clap,
They
man.
was hitting that gray area. Yeah, they was hitting that gray area. The police couldn't stop that.
That's right.
I mean, that's just what we saw in the video. I don't know what was happening.
That's
you know.
the type of
But
shit.
that's what Miami brings, though, bro. That's what we bring. You can't do that in Atlanta.
No.
Exactly.
You can't do that
That's
in
what I'm
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Like,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
can't do that anywhere else in the country, bro.
That's
Vegas, you'll get away with
For
it.
real.
You know, when Vegas get the Oakland Raiders there,
man.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
They might be able to compete.
They
might
may
be,
be
they
able
might
to
be.
compete,
I
yeah.
don't know, but I've heard from some of my boys that I've never been to Vegas, but I've heard from some of my boys that those Vegas strip clubs are whack, bro.
I mean, in comparison to Miami strip clubs, yeah. Every strip club is like very different, like nationwide, but Miami strip clubs beats everything out whenever I've gone everywhere. It's like you're always comparing it, and you're like, there's nothing like this. Like in Miami,
Yeah.
The
that's
most
one thing.
exotic woman come here.
Yeah.
Like the
You're
look.
spoiled, bro.
Not only that, it's just like over in South Florida, you could go like fully nude. You go other
Yeah.
parts of
That's
the
true.
country, you go
I
like
think
New
Atlanta-
York and
Atlanta
shit.
can't be
Yeah,
fully nude?
nah, I think you have to keep your bottoms on and shit like that.
I used to live in VA, and
Yeah.
I never went to a strip club, but my friend told me.
Yeah.
And
My friend
they
told
got
me.
they got the little toppers on the
tassels.
The tassels.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
dude.
actually
It's just-
that's like next. That's like what do they call that shit? It's not actually stripping. They have
Burlesque?
Burlesque. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
That's a burlesque. You know about that?
That
Exactly.
boy went to the memory bank on that one.
That's my friend that I was telling you about.
That's an insurance agent.
I never been to Virginia either. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
man.
about.
But this is what happens on the Lemon City Live podcast.
Yeah.
Where we start talking about sports, and then it turns into the stripper
Stripper.
podcast.
That's
Stripper.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is so like
Stripper
what we do, man.
cast.
It doesn't
Stripper
it always
cast.
happens the same way.
Yeah.
That's
Blues
what's
track,
dope,
yeah,
man.
blues track.
Yep.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been putting together like episodes? You said it's been going out for two and a half years now.
Yeah, our first episode was actually
Almost 4 years ago, dude.
Yeah, it was September, right around
Oh,
this
so you
time.
guys are 4 years now.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just hit
man.
it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Props to us, man.
congratulations.
Thank
In a
you,
couple
thank
weeks.
you,
In a
thank
couple
you.
weeks.
Yeah, it was like mid-September. I think we did our first episode. That's
like-
the laptop one.
It was actually like the last day of September, and the episode dropped the first day of October.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you guys are really just coming up on your 4-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So it's not like oh, you guys are an overnight success. Everybody says oh, you're an overnight success. 4 years
Nah,
later.
man.
Oh, see, this is the thing, man, and you can attest to this because
Yeah.
I'm messing up the mic.
It's
over
all
here.
good.
You can attest to this. You do this. There's a hustle, man.
Yes.
Everybody hustles. Everybody works hard, man. There's been like Okay, Friday night after the game, the Brazil game. I'm up till 4 a.m, editing pictures, working on this, doing that and the other. Gus is writing up stuff. Like there's a lot of moving parts to it, and there's been a lot of long nights.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times where, you can't just walk up to the Dolphins and say, hey, let us in. And they're like, no, what are you doing? You gotta build up your portfolio. We've been there at like some Saturday afternoon FIU baseball games where there's like 6 people in the crowd, and we do it because we need to do it.
Yeah.
We did it for really bad soccer games, We're up in Central Broward covering, a team that no longer exists anymore. But hey, it gave us access,
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of that, and it took some time, but
stepping stones.
Yeah, man. But with everything, it gets better and better, to the point now where, we're sitting there like I'm watching Neymar crash right next to me, I'm standing next to a couple Heisman Trophy winners yesterday in the locker room.
Last summer when the Clásico was here in Miami, when we covered the practice and the day right before the game, we covered the practice at the Hard Rock, and I'm just there standing in the tunnel when all of Barcelona just walks right in front of me, bro.
Yeah.
So I took out my phone and I filmed the whole thing. You see everybody. Fucking Messi, Neymar, all those motherfuckers.
All of them just come out
and
we've
done.
It's crazy.
We've done countless games, and shout outs to all those teams that give us access. We always do our best to make sure that they don't regret it. It comes. There's a level of ask that they want us to do certain things, so we make sure that we live up to our end of the bargain too. You know, and not just like, hey man, I was at the game and it was awesome. It can't be like that. But it's just a couple years ago, like one of the my favorite moments in all the stuff that we've done is a couple years. I'm a big tennis fan too.
Okay,
I love tennis. Nadal yesterday won the U.S. Open. Love it. I'm a big Federer.
That 19-year-old beat Williams.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
she's for real though.
Oh man, we're gonna talk about that one, man.
Fun fact. I wanted to say this for our show, but fun fact, bro. She's the first person born in the 2000s to win a major.
Yeah.
Damn.
At 19, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
shit.
And first Canadian, too, to win a major in tennis.
That lets me know I'm old,
right? That's how you know you're old,
we gotta face the fact. We want to stay young,
Seriously.
but we just gotta get over that fact, bro.
Legit could have been my daughter.
That's horrible, dog.
Yeah, bro. So, I don't want to do it.
I legit don't want to do it. I don't want to get old, man.
But so a couple years ago, we're covering the Miami Open when it was still in Key Biscayne, and we're doing all the matches throughout the tournament, and it ends up being the final, Nadal versus Federer.
That's dope.
Dude, for me, that was just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, and I'm, they're like, hey, here's your pass and everything. I'm like, shit, like I'm sitting. I'm not
You're
even
geeking
sitting.
out, yeah.
Bro, I'm not even sitting. I'm on the court, in the photo pit next to the net. And I'm like Nadal sitting next to me on this side, Federer's on that side, And I'm trying to take pictures, but at the same time, I'm like
geeking a fan.
I'm putting the camera down. I'm pinching myself. I'm like, yo, is this shit real? Like, am I just what? And it's just, and I'm looking around. It's if you've been to Key Biscayne to the Open there, it's beautiful. The crowds are full, and it's just crazy to think that all because of there's little moments in your timeline that you can go back to and say, that's what changed stuff, One of those moments for us was when Gus said, hey, let's open up this laptop and just record. We could have easily just talked and then nothing would have happened from it, because that's what's usually what happens is a lot of talk and, oh, bro, I got this great idea. You're all drunk or whatever, and you're like, bro, I got this great idea. We should do a podcast. Yeah, that's it. It never happens.
It stays there.
And then another point was, I'm snapping pictures at Hard Rock for a Canes practice, and I happen to take a picture of TD over here. And that just, opened up an enormous amount of doors for us. And I feel like that took us even further. And I don't know what the next point is, but I know there's going to be another one and another one and another one because we work so hard for it.
It's a process.
And man, and it's just like that to me, just looking back, it's just the best.
I congratulate you guys. You guys have definitely come a long way. And you put it on for Miami. Not only put it on for Miami, we put it on for the sports scene, and everybody else. Everybody gets to see you guys, that you guys is working hard and doing what you want to do. That's like a beacon for other people who want to do what they want to do in their life. Because there's a lot of people who just like going through the motions in life, and eating shit, and they need to see somebody else doing it and getting it so they could get into that same mind frame and that same hustle mentality.
And this is the generation too. Our generation, we're hard workers.
Yeah.
We're not born in this generation of we need access, we need to see progress now. A lot of these kids, they want to do something, they realize it's not working, they give up on it.
Yes.
And we understand that this is going to be a marathon. And we're just literally tapping at the end of the iceberg when it comes to the sports brand of what we can touch. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got our first sponsorship with Magic City Casino.
Yeah.
And that was me coordinating that with them.
That's what's up.
It's a small, but it's also something that we can use to catapult other things eventually.
Yeah.
So.
We're old school generation, man. I did homework assignments on typewriters back in the day.
I remember that. Yeah,
I remember using the first iPhone, and being like, understanding it. Like I had a beeper, bro. Yo, you remember having beepers, bro?
Oh yeah, I bought my first beeper off of Crackhead for 50 cents.
Yeah, that sound like ghouls.
It was ghouls.
It sound like ghouls.
Man, I'll tell you, it's funny because we appreciate the hard work, but we also understand how everything evolves. And shout out to some of the other stuff that we've been able to help out. Like another thing, like I said earlier, I really pride ourselves on being able to connect our friends to things that they wanted to do and bring them into stuff we did. Like earlier this year, we were able to launch a second podcast with a group of friends. It's called We Ain't Found Sith.
Okay,
and it's a straight nerd talk and
about
comics,
what, Star Wars,
comic books, movies, whatever you want. It's three nerds talking about it. Gus is in there, and he chimes in with his. He's not as hardcore as they are, but it's a nice little balance. And we've been able to do. They're on episode like 30 something already that they've done. So we've been able to do that. We helped out a friend of ours, Ferb, and we met covering games, and we helped him take off his and help him start up his nonsense podcast. Yeah, and now he's doing big things and stuff like that. And we got other little projects and stuff lined up. So like to be able to give back and do those things, like that's awesome for us, man.
Yeah, it's always fun time when you growing and you blowing up and like you bringing people with you. Because what's the point of like just you by yourself? You know, you at the top of the game. Yeah. So TD, you was telling me something that I want to touch on. Like we were talking about how like there's the sports side and the player side. How do you handle the level of craziness that comes from certain fans? Because they do see you like, oh, like this guy's superhuman, so he should be able to catch that ball that was like super fucking like was uncatchable. You know what I'm saying? Like, oftentimes, and then they come at you with that, especially now in the day of social media. How do you guys like, balance that and block that out?
I'm lucky to not be in this social media era.
Okay,
like Antonio Brown.
Yes,
and a la Kevin Durant. But what's
TD didn't have a burner account.
It's a great question because you have to be extremely confident in yourself, and a lot of athletes are not. Believe it or not, they're confident when it comes to taking the last shot. They're confident when it comes to I'm the man. But when it comes to trying to tell a fan like, hey yo, you don't bother me, it really does because they let that one moment like yo, you suck because you missed the last field goal, and they already mad that they missed it, but that fan throwing a little bit of more salt on the wound gets them to react. So that's the part that I'm so thankful that I got life experience. The fact that you know how to deal with others when you're in a situation that they're trying to get you to bite on something where that they're going to win if you actually do. So I've been in a position before that a fan has said something to me that I felt was disrespectful.
Yes.
The only thing I did at that moment was say, appreciate your support, and I walk away because
that's tough, man.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Because it's support.
I don't like losing money, and I don't like being told bad shit either.
It's support because believe it or not, if you get them mad enough to say something bad to you, they're supporting you in a way because say, man, you do something good, they go probably give you positive feedback too. So you gotta think of it in both ways. You do something bad, they got the right to say, "Oh, you suck."
Yeah.
You do something good, they should come back and say, "Yo, great job. Glad you did that."
Okay.
So I try to. I don't really engage with the shenanigans when it's like barking on social media or going face to face because guess who gonna look stupid?
Yeah, you.
I ain't.
Yeah. The other person is unknown.
They're gonna win
exactly
all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's really bad now with the sports with
trolling and shit.
Yeah, man.
No,
trolling.
you saw the NBA this year in the playoffs when the guy, the Toronto, the guy who was a CEO apparently.
Oh yeah,
he grabbed the basketball player.
Yeah.
He pushed him.
That's right.
Shove him. That's to see. Don't touch me. That's where you cross the line. But you can say whatever you want, long as it's not racist. You can say something about my mama because you don't know her.
Yeah.
But I'm not that kid like, oh, your mama ugly. But you don't know my mama. Yeah, but when it comes to racist and bigotry and all that stuff, like
it's tougher.
That's tougher because that's when you gotta really, swallow your tongue and just say. If y'all can't see me, I'm giving a thumbs up and walk away.
Yeah, you gotta
You gotta walk away.
That's a hard one, man. I mean, I feel that in times in my life, I've had to walk away from certain situations where I knew that if I did something, it was gonna be a bad situation. Yeah. So I'm assuming it's something like that.
It is. It's just a different platform.
But for that to happen continuously, that's the thing. Like everywhere you go, that shit could happen.
That's where it gets irritating, and that's where you have to build thick skin.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have these conversations a lot on the podcast. Like a lot of people are fans. They don't never come to grasp with like, hey, this is a sport. This is my job. You know, I got to go home to my family. I got to go home to my, regular life. Mm-hmm. You're watching me for less than 2 hours. You don't know me.
Yeah. Unless it's baseball, then it's not less than 2 hours.
So you don't know me.
It's but like a black hole.
The fans feel so connected now because of social media. They can follow you.
They have
every
access to
step.
you.
So they think they know you.
Yes.
So back in the day when we saw Michael Jordan play, bro, it was like literally watching a god.
Yes.
Because we didn't have access to him like
Michael Jordan would not be Michael Jordan in today's age.
For sure.
That guy was such a dirty degenerate. Man.
But if Jordan came to play the Heat when Martin was playing, like the streets was filled up. Coconut Grove, because they used to stay in that Mayflower down there. They used to stay in that hotel, and people used to come like flocking over there
just to see
a
glimpse.
Like there's a glimpse of him walking to the bus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like now, you may have your super fan that goes and show support, but as long as you got social media, you can just like, okay, they're here, okay, that's dope. Simple like that.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Jordan would have like not been able to survive right now. I mean, bro, I don't know. Touching on another subject, have you guys seen the new Chappelle?
Yes,
I heard about it. I heard it's controversy involved.
Boy, it's amazing.
I saw it.
It is controversial as fuck.
I thought it was dope.
With everything. I mean,
okay.
he touches a lot of, but I loved it. I mean, I'm not going to front. I love that shit. It's like you have to address the PC culture that's taking over where like you can't do anything anymore because you just get automatically taken down. All your good deeds get washed away in 10 seconds
hate that.
with one bad deed.
I hate that so much with our culture now, bro.
Yeah, I mean.
That's very true, though. But, this man here, he's a big Dave Chappelle fan. He's always quoting it and doing stuff. I saw maybe like a couple of skits from the original show.
Yeah, okay.
Don't get me started with about shows and movies, bro. Like it's
I'm
horrible.
always missing out. But I watched this one. I thought, he's poking the bear and and saying certain things. I didn't think it was like that controversial. The stuff he was saying.
Did you see the original Netflix specials?
I saw the latest one, the Sticks and Stones one.
But you didn't see the original ones.
Well, I don't know.
This is like a reaction to the backlash that he got from doing his original ones.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see it going back
No,
to
I mean, it's just a lot of like, he pokes a bear, but somebody has to poke the bear.
Yeah,
that's
man.
the thing. Like, everybody can't walk on eggshells all the time for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
That's how I feel. I feel like
45 gets away with it.
I mean,
bro.
His mouth, he has no filter. He's meeting with the Taliban.
Yeah.
Bro. Come on, man.
Dog, I mean, I bet you the president, homie. I mean, if you're the president, you don't think you can touch on everything. Nobody's gonna. Who's touching you?
Exactly.
So why
you're the president.
So the purpose is like you saying that everybody he can do it, but if somebody else like Dave Chappelle standard, he gets villainized for what he says.
I'm not saying that he can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but. It's not saying that he can't do it, but when he does it, a different light gets shed on it. Yeah. And it's not fair to him.
That's just a whole nother culture that you're appealing to and stuff.
And when you're a comedian, technically,
that's your job.
Your job is to speak the facts.
Yeah. I think a comedian, you gotta say the uncomfortable stuff to get people thinking. And it's just like when you're protesting, it's not supposed to be, peaceful. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Yeah. That's the whole purpose of a protest, the whole purpose of a comedy. Yeah, it's like, we're gonna have some peaceful comedy here. Let's tell some jokes here.
That's the wackest shit ever.
The trolls of the world literally are trying to destroy these people's life because let's go to Kevin Hart.
Okay.
When he had to host the Oscars. And the person went back 4 years.
Yes, bro. Some tweet that he did like forever ago.
What were you doing to find it? You was on the toilet and you were strolling.
No, you were just hating. You were looking for something to hate on.
But you had to go 4 years back to find that.
I think it was more than that.
I think it was like 10 years.
No, I think it was like 10 years.
Yeah, it was like early.
Yeah. How long does it take you to scroll somebody's Twitter timeline to go back that far, bro?
What I think is I was actually having a discussion about this the other day, and to me, it's just this is just the cycle that we're in right now. Eventually, it's gonna shift from it because like with social media, like you didn't have to deal with it. Now people are dealing with it, and now they're understanding it. But what happens when you start to learn something new, you realize all the things you did bad before. You know how you didn't cover your tracks with certain things.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't delete certain stuff or you said certain, because that stuff stays there. He probably, didn't think anything of it back then.
Back in the day, you weren't getting taken down every 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Eventually all that stuff will catch up to you. I think eventually we're going to get to a point a few years from now where you're going to see less and less of that. Because people are more.
But why?
Because you're more aware. You're more aware.
So you're caging yourself.
Oh yeah, I know for sure.
You shouldn't be doing that.
You shouldn't be doing that.
I'm
Let me
just
tell
saying.
you,
But
I love Facebook in the aspect that it says, "Oh, on this day you posted this," and I'm like, "Oh shit, let me delete that shit."
Thank you, Facebook.
You know what I'm saying?
You're ahead of the game.
Trying to save me.
You're like, "Good looking, Mark Zuck." You know what I'm saying?
or at least put it to private. Take off that public.
Exactly.
No, I mean it's crazy right now with this PC culture, man. And anybody who is a public figure is dodging minds everywhere they're going.
Yeah.
But you do something that pisses them off, they're gonna try to find something that you did wrong.
That's true.
And try to put it to light because they want to fuck you up.
They want to mess your life up.
Yeah, they want to mess your life up. They're sad and depressed or whatever the fuck. So they just want to make you sad and depressed. Who can I bring down?
Yeah.
And they got the time and the energy.
Yeah.
You over
that's
there.
That's the big thing. Time and energy, man.
Exactly.
That guy's just, I can sit here all day.
Fact.
Swipe.
Exactly.
Swipe,
Until I
scroll.
find that one stupid thing, and then that one stupid thing will blow up media, and that's it. It's a done deal. You're like, your deal's gone, everything's gone.
Once you get that thread and it starts cycling through.
Yes.
I know what I'm doing tonight, going through all of my shit, man. Make sure I didn't do nothing stupid after
Moral of the
this,
story: cover your tracks.
I barely use my Twitter. I use it, but I don't use it, and it's verified. But when I post something, it's either sports or something when it comes to our podcast. That's it.
Because I mean, you could screw yourself up.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Speaking of social media, you can follow us at lemoncitylive.com, at Lemon City Live on all social media.
What's all y'all handles?
Like you said, Lemon City Live
Live
podcast. Go ahead, Gus. What's yours?
Mine.
Personal.
I mean, my personal one is at. You gotta spell Hispano backwards.
Okay.
Spell it backwards.
At
Hispano, but spell it backwards. So it's ONAPSIH.
ONAPSIH.
There you go. I'm just at Larry Fresh. You can find me on
Mine's
IG.
Tanard.Davis on Instagram and Twitter is the same thing.
And then everything Lemon City Live.
Everything's Lemon City
At
Live.
Lemon City Live.
Hat there,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. LemonCityLive.com. You can find us and you can see us at pretty much we're like the only the only sports media or that's out there
Citrus-based sports media.
Yeah, we're the only citrus-based sports entity out there.
Citrus-based.
Yeah, that's so anything to get us on the search rankings a little higher. And then on top of that, we're actually the ones who wear like uniforms out there. We got our own.
That's true.
We're not wearing it today, but because we just sweated it up yesterday.
Hey, no, but it's, no, seriously. Every time we go cover a game, we wear our Lemon City shirts, and people they start to recognize it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I hit up Carlos Arroyo, he wrote back. He's like, "Oh yeah, I heard about you guys." I was like, "How the fuck did Carlos Arroyo hear about us?" That's crazy.
That's good. You
man.
guys doing good shit,
Yeah,
dog.
man.
But
And
it also goes back to taking a name that we took. I mean, when it came time to it, to like figure out, well, what do we want to call ourselves? Like Miami Sports. It's like if you going anywhere, you see anything and it says Miami Sports or something like that, you'll be like, whatever.
Really fast.
Yeah, you're just not gonna pay attention to it. But our name, kind of catches the eye. Like, Lemon City Live. Always everywhere we go. Like, what's
And you
Lemon
guys
City
drop
Live?
weekly?
Weekly.
Weekly.
SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. What else? Stitcher Radio. What's the other one I'm forgetting?
Spotify.
Yeah, man, we're on everything. And if you can't find it on there, you can stream it through our website. So
That's what's
you
up.
have our whole archive there. You can check it out. But yeah, it's always a great conversation starter. I mean, we've told the story a million times. Every time we're out there, like, what's Lemon City Live? What? Funny you ask.
You got that shit down packed already.
So it's
You got the
it's worked good
script
for us.
ready.
Yeah, man, and it's fun, man. And again, it goes back to just all the hard work and being proud of it, man.
Well, I congratulate you guys again. Thank you so much, man, for coming out here, talking to us, letting us know what's going on in your worlds, letting us know how y'all popping off and representing for South Florida.
Sure, thanks for
Not
having
only
us,
in the
man.
sports.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
You guys are more than welcome anytime back here, man. Okay, Bola podcast. I appreciate
bro.
you guys, man.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
what's
a
up,
really
man.
fun time. I loved all the topics. I wish we could go for another
Let's do a
3-4
part 2,
hours.
bro. Whenever you want, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. You do it on our show. Come on
Come on
our
our show.
We'll
That's
do
right.
part 2 over there, bro. How about
For the
that?
show at the studio.
Yeah, bro.
That's right.
I love it, dude. Yeah, man.
Definitely. Until the next time, you guys know what it is. Get Bola podcast. Share it with your friends if you like it. If you hate this shit, share it with your enemies. Just share it, alright? Peace. You heard it there. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Lemon City Live at everywhere. Tanar.Davis and at Hispano Backwards for Gustavo and at Larry Phresh for Edwin. If you guys like the podcast, please give it a subscribe. Please give it a like. Share it with your friends. If you hate it, share it with your enemies. Like I say, baby, just share this motherfucker. Please share this motherfucker. Please, baby. Please share this motherfucker. Share this motherfucker. Please share this motherfucker. Share this motherfucker, all right? Peace.